We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new style, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's May 20th, Monday here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today, we're joined by Cheska Nainhong.
Happy Monday, everyone!
Welcome back! Yay! And Jeji.
Good morning.
Good morning. Both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So we're going to begin with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending online over the past 24 hours. We begin with the Israel-Hamas war. Over the weekend, the Israel Defense Forces reported recovering the bodies of 4 hostages from the Gaza Strip. According to IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari, all 4 hostages were killed during Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. One of the victims is Johnny Luke, whose lifeless body was seen slung across the back of a Hamas truck in a video that spread shortly after the attack. Hagari did not specify where the bodies were found, but said they were recovered during a joint operation by the IDF and Israeli security agency Shin Bet. The bodies have been transferred to medical professionals for forensic examination. Now moving on, back here in Korea, medical schools across the country are set to finalize the expansion of their admission quotas this week. According to local media, the Korean Council for University Education will hold a University Admissions Committee meeting to review and approve each university's revised plans for increasing med school enrollment quotas for the 2025 academic year. After the meeting, each school will announce its final enrollment guidelines by the end of this month. Now on Sunday, the presidential office urged universities to quickly revise their school regulations to reflect the increased med school quotas. This follows the Seoul High Court's rejection of an injunction filed by doctors and med school students last week, which sought to halt the government's plan to raise the nationwide med school admission quota by 2,000. Now, finally, on the entertainment front, singer Kim Ho-jung is facing criticism after continuing his concert tour over the weekend despite being involved in a hit-and-run incident. He is currently under police investigation for allegedly colliding with a taxi and fleeing the scene without taking any follow-up measures. Now, there are also suspicions that Kim's agency attempted to cover up the incident as his manager initially lied to the police, claiming he was driving at the time. However, Kim eventually admitted his responsibility during police questioning the next day. While the police also suspected Kim of drunk driving on Sunday after completing his concert in Changwon City, the singer admitted to driving under the influence. He apologized to his fans through his online fan cafe and added that he would cooperate with the police investigation. Now, Kim is still under investigation. He has not been charged with any crimes yet, but opinions are indeed divided on whether he should have carried out his scheduled concert. So here in the studio, what do you think about Kim's decision, Ji-hee?
Well, although he was under allegations that he hit a taxi and just ran from the scene, and he was also there were suspicions that he was drunk driving as well, driving under influence. And so I think when he's under this controversy, because he's a celebrity and he's a public figure, I don't think he should have carried out with his concert. And I believe some fans who were disappointed at his action wanted to cancel the tickets as well, but the cancellation fees were too expensive.
Which made them hard to cancel.
Exactly. But so instead of having fans go through all this hassle or making them go to the concerts without any choice, I think he should have canceled them first and stayed quiet for a while.
Right, and I think what a lot of fans and even the public were disappointed at Kim was that he actually admitted drunk driving after completing his final concert in Changwon last night. So what are your thoughts on his behavior or his decisions, Cheska?
Not even going so far as to whether he should have carried out the concert or not, which I completely agree with Ji. I think he should have taken proper measures.
Definitely.
I mean, the fact is that not only did he lie, but the forensic service has shown that he was actually drunk driving with the alcohol dosage that was in the blood alcohol dosage during his body. And he actually lied about it with his manager to cover up the hit and run. So all the incidents lead up to the fact that he was lying to the police and the public about what he was doing. And in and of itself, he has committed a crime, which he must, own up to. And adding to the fact that he's a public figure who earns his living through the trust and the love that he gets from the public, I really think he should have taken a proper measure, and I don't think this is very appropriate.
Right, he should definitely be more responsible for his actions. So Kim has promised that he'll actively cooperate with police investigations, so we'll see how this case unfolds. Now, that was our news feed for this Monday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion topic of the day. So today marks Coming of Age Day here in Korea. It's actually a special occasion celebrated every third Monday of May, where young adults in the country officially announce their transition into adulthood at 19 years old. And behind this day actually lies a rich centuries-old history. Let's take a look at the screen first. In traditional Korean culture, noble families used to hold coming-of-age ceremonies called 관례 and 계례 to mark a child's journey into adulthood. Usually held at the age of 15, these ceremonies symbolized readiness for social responsibilities. Today, this tradition has evolved into Coming-of-Age Day, where turning 19 is celebrated with gifts from family and friends. Right, so let's first explore how Coming of Age Day is celebrated in Korea, because celebrating Coming of Age Day on May 20th is actually unique. It's a Korean thing. So Cheska, for those of our viewers who are not aware of Korea's Coming of Age Day, please provide more context. Please explain this day.
Yes, as we saw in the VCR, traditionally it was 15, but now in Korea it's a holiday designated to celebrate new adults who have turned 19 and to learn or remind them of the upcoming responsibilities and duties of being an adult. Now, under the Korean Civil Act, the age of adulthood was actually 20 years old, but under the amendment in 2013, the age of Coming of Age Day was now lowered to 19. So I think there will be some very excited youngsters who are now coming to an adulthood much younger. Yeah.
Right, much quicker. And the government actually lowered this age because they thought that this was kind of like a global trend for young adults maturing both mentally and physically quicker than the previous generations. Now, when we talk about Coming of Age Day here in Korea, we actually exchange common gifts with each other. So Jihi, could you please tell us what kind of gifts they are and what they represent?
Sure. So here in the country, we exchange 3 different gifts. First one being a rose, actually not a rose, but 20 roses, and a perfume. And the last one is a kiss. So these 3 things are supposed to be the 3 gifts that you exchange with each other when you come of age. And I think it's very unique to Korea, and all 3 of these gifts have different symbolic meanings. The first one, because they usually exchange red roses, by the way, and 20 of them to represent that number, 20. Although the legal age of coming of age has changed.
19.
Right.
But 20 just sounds like a nicer number.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes. And the perfume is to just make sure that the person grows into a decent adult with a very unique or beautiful scent.
Of your own.
Of your own. And the third one is the kiss. It just represents being adult or becoming an adult.
Right. So these are some of the gifts that we exchange with each other in Korea to celebrate Coming of Age Day. So now, on a more personal note, I want to ask you guys, how did you spend your Coming of Age Day? Because it's really big, because it's like a once-in-a-lifetime event. So share some memories.
Even though it was a once in a lifetime, I think I have a pretty interesting story. So I actually got the unfortunate case of stuck in between. So let me explain. So as we talked about, the coming of age is 19 in Korea, right? But in America, there is something called the Sweet 16.
Right.
It's a very, very monumental celebration for youngsters reaching 16. So when I was 16, I was in New Zealand. And then when I turned 19, the legal age of Korea, I was in the States. So I missed all of them and did not get to celebrate it at all. But one thing that I started to do is on my every birthday since turning 19, I get myself blue roses.
Why?
Yeah, because of the meaning of the flower itself. It means a miracle in doing the impossible and kind of overcoming yourself. So
A blue rose.
Yeah. So I kind of give that to myself as each year to represent my new adulthood or new, challenges that are coming in my way.
That's such a lovely idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really
Thank you.
sweet.
And another thing that I would like to point out is in America, I think senior prom can also be seen as a rite of passage.
Right.
And it has quite a lot of significance because you're graduating from high school, which is obviously a very important part of becoming an adult.
Right.
And another thing is you actually dress in ball gowns.
Fancy dresses.
The European, the whole tuxedos and dresses. And you actually take a partner with you. It's not optional, but you take a partner. And then you go to this full out ceremony and you go and dance. So it almost becomes becomes like a ceremony of having the taste of what it means to be an adult.
Right, definitely. Well, it's a bit late, but happy belated coming of age day to Cheska. I'll give it to you then later. Now, how about you, Ji? Did you get to celebrate your coming of age day?
Well, I was here in Korea when I turned 19. Actually, I was in university, but then I didn't know that we had a coming of age day because, like Cheska, I grew up not in Korea when I was young. And I only found out then on that day, I think. And I did receive a rose, I think, from a friend.
From
a friend, because I didn't have a boyfriend back then to give me all three of those gifts. Anyway, and it's over a decade ago, so I honestly don't remember clearly, but I remember seeing a lot of roses at school. People were carrying them, and I was glad that I received one as well.
Right. Yeah. But when I look back on my coming of age day, it's kind of like a funny story actually, but I forgot that I had a coming of age day, so it was actually my mom who reminded me that wasn't last year your coming of age day, so I totally forgot. And I think that I'm not alone because it seems that millennials and Gen Zs these days actually do not celebrate coming of age day as big as before, because before, like during the 20th century, small towns in Korea used to gather all these people who turn into adults and hold this big festival to celebrate them becoming adults. So is this actually true, Cheska? What do you think about this?
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, even just the discussion that we had, many of us had either forgotten or had streamlined the process, right? But back in the days, it was a very, very important process because obviously when you turn 15 or when you're a teenager, these youngsters would actually go out to the world and start a family and would have to become independent. So traditionally, and I learned this through the research, it's called 전통 성년회, which means like traditional adulthood. And in these monumental ceremonies, the elders of the villages or the teachers or the maestros would actually go through these ceremony to teach them of the disciplines, the duties, and the responsibilities of how they should act and approach the world. But if you imagine you're only 15 and you're already learning these things.
I can't imagine that nowadays.
And as you mentioned in the VCR, it was called 관례, boys, and the kere, the girls. And these elaborate ceremonies, I think, sort of prepare people before they go out into the society.
Right. So in the past, during the Joseon Dynasty, we had 성년례, and that kind of evolved to coming of age day that we celebrate today with roses, perfumes, and also a kiss. But nowadays, the even younger generation who are becoming adults seem like they're celebrating their coming of age day differently. So Ji, could you explain a bit more?
Sure. So like I said earlier, the three different gifts that we used to exchange were the ones that you just mentioned once again. But these days, there was a survey, in fact, that was conducted on some 19-year-old boys and girls. And the number one gift that they wanted to get wasn't roses or any other flower, but what do you think? Cash.
Oh,
correct. Cash is the best gift, I guess. So they prefer cash. And other than that, second and third on the list were some digital devices, such as a smartwatch. You're wearing one, and a tablet PC.
Very useful.
Very useful.
Right.
It's really practical.
Yeah, very practical.
So Gen Zs and millennials these days, or Gen Zs, not millennials, because they've already turned. Gen Zs, actually the ones that are turning adults this year are those who were born in 2005.
Wow, 2005.
So they tend to be very practical.
Right.
They want to receive gifts that they can use right now that they need in their daily lives. So yeah, that's how it's changing these days.
Right. So you actually mentioned how those who were born in 2005 are actually celebrating their coming of age day today. And we actually have an interviewee that we're going to connect live to who was born in 2005, celebrating her coming of age day today. We'll be right back after the break, so stay tuned. So today we're joined by Kang Jung-won, who is a Korean Gen Zer celebrating her coming of age day today. Hi, Jung-won. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Great. So our first question for you today is, how do people around you typically celebrate coming of age day these days?
When I look at the people around me, I think they mainly receive gifts from parents or friends. They receive meaningful gifts such as perfumes or luxury cosmetics. I think it means to start the adulthood. I have also heard that one of my friends got roses from her parents. I think it is romantic.
Lovely.
And do you actually feel different to be officially recognized as an adult? Do you feel something? Hello? Oh, let me repeat the question because I think we had a slight audio failure. How does it feel to be officially recognized as an adult now that you have officially celebrated an adulthood?
Actually, so far, the only thing that has changed as an adult is that I can drink alcohol beverages, and I don't think I've experienced much. However, as I am officially recognized as an adult for the upcoming Age Day and celebrated by many people, I think I should get out of my immaturity and have a more mature attitude as an adult.
I see. Well, Chongwon, now that you've turned into an adult, do you have any goals or plans that you would like to share?
I usually like to change various experience, so I try to do a lot of activities during my school days, but I think others have more various things to experience comparing to students. In the future, I would like to participate in environmental activities such as climate crisis. I am really interested in talking to many people from diverse backgrounds.
Great. So you have a lot of ambitious plans up for you. Thank you so much, Changwon, for your valuable insights today. And congratulations on your coming of age day today.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Great. So we've heard from Changwon and from our panelists about how we celebrate coming of age day typically here in Korea. But now let's expand our discussion and talk about how this occasion is celebrated in other parts of the world.
As I mentioned quickly earlier, there is the Sweet 16, which is the very important birthday for the American public. It is a full-out party with lots of friends and families. And the meaning has sort of evolved into more of a very fancy and outlandish party. But the age 16, obviously, back in the day represented a coming of age. Another one that is also very important in the South America is called quinceañera, which is coming of 15. Now they usually do the Catholic Mass where the girls renew their baptismal vows and they, solidify the commitment to the family and faith. But also quinceañera is a full-blown out family and friends party. You will see the most amazing food, amazing ceremonies. I've attended one.
I want to attend one too.
I've attended one where the girl rode on a bull into the...
A bull?
It's a full-out ceremony.
It's a big ceremony. Indeed.
Right? And another one that's also very big is the bar mitzvah. I mean, some people might have heard of it. It's of Jewish faith.
Right.
And it's a huge family event also. But it's very religious in that they read the Torah and they get the words from the rabbi, and they actually break the glass, which signifies a lot of things of coming into adulthood. So you can see these all of these ceremonies have either religious background or coming of age at a very young sort of age.
Right. So apart from the examples that Cheska mentioned, are there any example that you'd like to add, Ji?
Well, our neighbor, Japan, they also celebrate this day.
Right. I heard really big.
Really big, but it falls on a different day compared to Korea. So their adult coming of age day is the second Monday in January.
Right.
And on this day, the men wear just proper suits and women wear kimonos. And they take photo shoots to actually celebrate this day and keep that as a memory. And also in Germany and some other European countries, they don't actually have a coming of age day. However, unlike us, the people there turn into adults legally when they're 18. So they celebrate their 18th birthday in a very fancy and festive way.
Right. So although the age that each country recognizes as being an adult and the way they celebrate is different, they're all to kind of remind young adults of their responsibilities and most of all just celebrate them becoming an official adult. So to find out more, we also asked our viewers whether their countries celebrate coming of age day or have a special day to celebrate becoming an adult, and if so, how do they celebrate? And here's what 3 of them had to say. So if we look at the comments, Leon says Singapore currently does not have a designated coming of age day or specific national holidays or traditions, but some might have personal celebrations when we reach a significant age with gifts or special meals. Tasmia says in Bangladesh, the coming of age day doesn't exist. However, people from certain tribes and ethnic groups perform rituals and celebrations for children for reaching a certain age. Children get gifts such as getting a nose piercing or clothes that only adults wear. Finally, Ahmad says Indonesia has many celebrations and many different tribes have different ceremonies to celebrate. On Nias Island, young men must be able to jump a stone wall to become an adult. In Bali, they level their teeth. Right, so a lot of countries, as we can see from our viewers' comments, have very interesting rituals or celebrations to recognize young adults, young teenagers becoming adults. Now, to wrap up, us 3 here in the studio have been officially recognized as adult almost for well over a decade. So based on our experience, what do you think does it mean to become an adult?
That's such a great question, and I think all of us can agree. That's the question I think every one of us asks
we're searching
every single day. But one other thing, and I was kind of, during our talk, I was thinking about why have the MZers or the Gen Zs have streamlined the adulthood process and asking for these practical gifts. And one of the reasons that I thought was because of the abundance and the accessibility of the worldwide information.
Right.
People have learned and acquired information in a rapid amount of speed that they have never known before. And in a way, knowledge, however, does not translate to wisdom.
Right.
Knowledge does not equate to maturity. So I think in a way, adulthood has always been, quote, uncomfortably exciting, and that you really have to go out and experience it for yourself, but also the responsibilities and the duties that really come with it. And even though we may not celebrate the official, adulthood like the way that we do back in the traditional days, I think we can do some very special ceremonies with the family. For instance, like opening your first bank account, paying your first rent, like actually getting your feet into what it's like to be an adult. Or maybe even just going out and getting a counseling of what it's like to start a family or get married. If anyone's interested.
Right, so kind of enjoying the freedom as an adult and also kind of keeping in mind the responsibilities that come with freedom and all these rights. Now, what about you, Ji? How do you define an adult?
Well, I think it's a really difficult question, but I want to point out to 3 different values, I guess, not values, but first of all, decision making, making choices and decisions by yourself, and being responsible, secondly, for the decisions and choices that you make, and thirdly, staying flexible as you grow up, meaning staying flexible to the different experiences that you encounter and being open to the different ideas, thoughts that people have, and just the differences that we have as people. So staying flexible, making your own decisions, choices, and being responsible.
Right.
Great ones.
So
like growing.
Right. We're still growing. We're with you guys. It's still hard for everyone, but until we all become responsible adults, while News 10 will be here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks today to Cheska Nainho.
Pleasure's always mine. Thank you.
And Choi Ji-hee.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We are News Generation.